Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in with us today. We've got a special homecoming edition live stream. We usually like to bring on a number of guests here from throughout the university, and we couldn't quite pinpoint what would want to do for homecoming week. Although we thought the best case scenario would be to just talk about ourselves and what we're doing coming up here. But turns out we've also got a special guest with us today that I will let uh, them introduce them in just a few moments. A couple of housekeeping items we want to talk about before we jump into our conversation. At any point, what you hear today, actually for homecoming, just know that a lot of these events are still open and you're able to register and attend still. We'll be doing this tomorrow night and Saturday, obviously, weather permitting, but we're going to try and mow through it as much as possible. Also, if you see down on this side of the screen, you can see the uh, download for our app that we have here. Launched with that earlier this year. It's still going strong, and it's a good way to stay connected to everything that we are going to be putting out this weekend. So if you could download that, our SIU Alumni Association app, it's available for iOS and Android devices as well. So I want to welcome who our guests are actually this week. We've got Jeff Gleim, our executive director here, who's will be having a conversation with a little bit about some of the upcoming things that we're doing, and then beyond homecoming things on that. But also we're welcoming Scott Moeller, who is a member of our board of directors, also 85 alumnus as well, and he's here to talk about a gift that he did make to the Alumni Association, which is actually resulting in the renaming of our Alumni Center. So we want to talk to him about that. But Jeff, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then if you and Scott want to talk about what's going on here as we kick off homecoming weekend, take it away.
Thanks, Caleb. Thanks for having both of us on. It's an exciting week, as most people who are watching will imagine. I will start off by saying I have everything that I have on crossed, looking at the weather reports. So if anybody out there has any connection to anybody that can control the weather, please help, because we've got a lot of things in store, which we'll get to in a moment. But really, it's been 2 years since we've all been able to get out and get together and feel somewhat safe, and really excited about talking about what's coming up. But just as excited to talk to Scott. Um, Scott, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll have
Sure.
a conversation about what's coming up.
Sure. Yeah, Caleb and Jeff, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's great to be back on campus. I mean, homecoming is just always such a special time. I mean, you come down here and it's just exciting about you can just feel the energy in the air that everybody's excited about getting back to campus and having that experience. And it's great. The football team's doing really well too. I think we're 5-1 and going into a game that hopefully will win as well. So that's super exciting. And then all the activities that are planned on campus this weekend, the tailgates, the dedications that are taking place. It's just really exciting to be here and thrilled to be here. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but even more thrilled that my sister, who came to SIU 4 years ahead of me, is traveling here with her husband as part of the dedication that we're going to do here. So I'm really excited to be back with her on campus. She was the one that got me to SIU, and it's really thrilling to have her back here.
Well, Scott, so let's talk about the celebratory occasion coming up here. Seems like it's been a while since we've actually, I guess, really talked about this. When you think about the association moved from Collier Hall prior to my arrival back in 2019. You as a board member and Caleb as a staff member were a part of the transition from Collier Hall to now what is, well, it's Woody Hall. But we occupy the C side of the building, 2 floor, the C wing. And we have a nice little a sign above that indicating that's the Alumni Center. And we've made that transition from Collier to here. But tomorrow we're going to be celebrating something that I think back how we kind of stumbled into conversation about all this of you and your sister stepping up and, drum roll please, stepping forward and giving a very, 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 very generous gift in naming the Alumni Center. Just, I know your sister's not here, but I know you have her proxy. What does that mean to both of you? I know you both have talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. I mean, the really great thing, and Caleb was part of this when we moved from Collier over, in the old Greek Row to here, and the renovation has been fabulous. My recollection of Woody Hall, which Julie has, and I'm sure a lot of alum recall, is registration and just the hassles of trying to put together a class schedule with all this. It was done manually back in the day, and you had these boards up all over the room and with little colored dots, and you had to figure out if you were eligible for that class and if it was open or closed. And if it was closed, you had to go track down a professor to get a closed class card and come back. It was really similar to going to the DMV, where you needed to get something done where, you were probably going to get kicked back and had to come back again. And hence the Woody Hall shuffle. So it was very cool to see what we did with a couple of floors here and a wing and recreated this. It's something that before our time, it was a women's dormitory, right? But it's really kind of a state-of-the-art alumni center now. And Julie and I had similar paths while we were on campus. We both came here. I started out as a business major. She was a journalism major. I later became a journalism major. We both worked on campus. The height of our work experience was at separate times. We were both the promotions director of the SIU Arena when it was the regional facility for bringing all the big bands to town, right? So in my day, I promoted ZZ Top and Van Halen and Sammy Hagar and Foreigner and Billy Squier. Those were some of the concerts that I did. Julie, I know she had Bruce Springsteen and I think Van Morrison and just a variety of other people. But it was really a place where in the region where people from all the small towns around Southern Illinois would come to campus to see these huge shows. And it was really an exciting kind of first opportunity for people to experience SIU. Well, Julie and I, after SIU, went out and started a company called Marketing Works. And that was about a year after I had left campus here. And we took this from just a couple of spare bedrooms at a friend's house in suburban Chicago to we occupied, 26 years later, we occupied 2 floors in the Prudential Building downtown. We had over 200 full-time staff members that worked for us at that office in New York and LA. And we had about 3,000 brand ambassadors that executed programs for our clients. Our clients were big Fortune 500 consumer product brands like Lego and Hershey and Bridgestone. Verizon was our biggest customer. So when Julie and I sold the company in 2013, we're a $100 million company. And we sort of look back and we could really trace and draw a direct line back to SIU, to the experiences that we had on campus from the marketing and advertising experience. We both had other jobs on campus too. Julie worked at the Daily Egyptian and worked at Morris Library and the Rec Center. I worked in media locally. I worked at WTAO Radio, selling radio time, and I also worked at Channel 3 TV. So those experiences that we had, in addition to the education that we received here at SIU, really was the kind of foundation for what we ended up building later. And working at the arena was certainly a work hard, play hard kind of thing, and that was sort of what we modeled our company after. And we were fortunate to be very successful with that. So when this opportunity came around, like how could we give back? The great thing about the alums of SIU, we have about 250,000 living alums, which ranks us about 42nd in the country in living alums. Now, how can we keep that network activated and keep them engaged for the current students and for the future students? So Julie and I thought, when this naming opportunity came up here and that those dollars are going to go into an endowment for the Alumni Association, what a great way to give back. So that was sort of the motivation for doing it. I have to admit, when I called Julie and said, hey, do you want to name a wing in Woody Hall? She's like, I mean, that place that we struggle to get our classes together, and everybody has so this negative feeling about that. I'm like, yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be great. And I have to admit, though, one of the things that was a shared experience that all SIU students had at the time, and there was a certain resilience that you had to have to get through that process of registering for a course, for a semester of classes. And maybe that's what separates us. Maybe that's what makes us tough, is that the resilience of getting through the Woody Hall shuffle. But we're just so excited to be part of this, and finding a way to get back and celebrate this with our fellow Salukis.
Well, Scott, it was interesting to hear you talk about both your past and your sister's and Julie's path, and hearing some of those concert names. Just, I had a flashback real quick, so it put a smile on my face thinking about all of that, and I can only imagine some of the stories that you two might be able to tell. But I wasn't here during the transition. I came after everybody had moved into what's now is the Alumni Center, and I can speak selfishly for myself and the staff. I'm glad the board and had the foresight to capture this opportunity. But I think about the naming for you and your sister, and I think about the location of where we're at. What a landmark for students, for alumni to come. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other things that are going up. But I mean, to associate your name and two professional alums who have had great careers, and to tie your name to this building, and this building means a lot to alumni. I just think speaks volumes for you and your sister, but I think it speaks volumes of where the Alumni Center can go from here.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jeff. I completely agree with you. This where we are now at, centrally located here on campus, is awesome. We were back in Greek Row, kind of tucked away back there in some sort of decaying building, if you will. And now we're in this like beautiful renovated space in the center of campus, which is where we should be. And we're right across the mall from Saluki Plaza, which has now become really a focal point photo opportunity. It was interesting. I saw on the internet, the local high school, Carbondale Community High School, had its homecoming last week, and there were a bunch of high school kids that even came out and were getting their photos taken with it. So it's not only an SIU landmark, it's really become a community landmark too. So that's super exciting to be there. And yes, this is a landmark. Everybody knows Woody Hall. If you came to SIU, you know Woody Hall. So we're thrilled to be part of that and have the opportunity to do that.
And because we haven't said it yet on the live stream, just so everyone does know that we're talking about, this is a $500,000 gift that Scott and his sister had made, that changes what is just the Alumni Center into the Guida Moeller Family Alumni Center, named after your sister Julie Guida first, and then you, Scott. And I just kind of a note here. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised by this development at all, because if you don't, well, the one thing I've learned about Scott is over the years is he's always kind of been a silent financial backer of many SIU Alumni Association endeavors in what we do, whether that's an event or a program. He's always kind of back there. Never really got the attention he might have deserved on as well. But it's nice to see that now that your name is actually right up there on a building with us now on that. So I'm that's the one thing I remember about you, is that Scott's always there when you need him, but doesn't necessarily seek the attention until now he's got a whole name, or a whole building, or a whole wing of a building named for him, at least on there. So
well, thank you, Caleb, and bringing my sister in is very special. I mean, if she did the search, she went out and looked for the right school for her. She wanted to study journalism. SIU has always been a strong communications school. She found the journalism program here, and came here. And then when it was time for me to go to college, I talked to her, and she said, "Why don't you come to SIU?" And I couldn't think of a reason why not to. And so I followed her. So she did the search. But I think the sibling story of her and me both coming here and having similar kind of work experiences and stuff, hopefully that'll be something that some other people will read about and might get inspired and see that that there is a lot of opportunity. We used to joke coming out of SIU, is there life after college, right? Well, there is, and we're proof of that. There's a lot of life to live and a lot of opportunity from coming out of SIU. So hopefully that'll be, maybe there'll be a little bit of inspiration for others to when they read about our stories.
So Scott, on behalf of all alumni of the university, and Julie, if you're watching or when you get a chance to take a look at this, heartfelt and sincere thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm excited. I can't wait to get to the unveiling tomorrow. So, Caleb, I don't know if you want to give the specifics on the unveiling tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, again, we'll be doing this rain or shine some way or another, but we will at 6 p.m. be here in the C wing of Woody Hall or in front of it if it's the weather allows. We're going to be hosting a brief ceremony. Scott and Julie will be present. I believe the chancellor is scheduled to be there as well. So we invite everyone to come out, not just for that, but also because it sort of kicks off our big homecoming event, our rocked and rolled homecoming that we are having tomorrow evening in the Alumni Center courtyard. It features the Jungle Dogs, if anyone remembers them. I'm sure many people do. So we will be hosting that along with a couple of other events for our alumni band group, our young alumni group, our 50-year reunion. It's all kind of be happening right there, and that's what I wanted to tell people. There's still time. You can get registered for that if you want. We're taking registrations right up to the time. It's free to enter. We will have food trucks available for people to purchase food. There will be beer trucks there, courtesy of Kerner and Vinigoni distributors. They'll have there. We're having a selection of wines from our partners on the Shawnee Hills Wine Trail. So there's everything you need to have a good time tomorrow night. We'll be, right in our center here, at the Alumni Association.
So, Caleb, before we move to a different topic, I do want to recognize Scott and Julie. Scott gave you his background about Scott and Julie's background with working with the concerts and so forth. You mentioned the Jungle Dogs. Thanks to Scott and Julie, they are primarily responsible for getting the Jungle Dogs to come to campus. So, Scott,
this is what I'm talking about. He's always kind of the silent partner and backer back there, but he's finally. I'm glad to see, Scott, that you are finally getting your due. That we are going to be putting your name somewhere on there because you've done a lot for the Association of the Year and haven't really gotten the credit for it yet. So.
Well, thank you, Caleb. I mean, Julie and I thought it was so fitting to have this rock and roll exhibit over at the museum. And then, we should have a concert of some kind. Our background was in concert promotions and all that. And, let's, everybody loves a party. So let's bring it on and let's have some fun. So and we're really thrilled. And I'm just amazed at how many people connect with the Jungle Dogs. I mean, there are a lot of people that are very excited about it. So it should be a great show tomorrow night.
Okay, but yeah, let's also while we got you here, let's talk about last week as well. We were in your hometown in Chicago, SIU was, and there were a lot of things happening there. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about that. It was the Saluki Takeover of Chicago, and it wasn't just for Chicago. It kind of set the template for what we at SIU are going to be doing in a lot of places where we have large concentrations of alumni in the future.
Yeah, so this was one of the kick the tires with a template, and Chicago is really our largest alumni base, so we targeted that area to go to, and I want to give a big shout out and kudos to the SIU Foundation. Big part of making all this happen. Without them, there was no way this was going to happen. So I want to congratulate Matt Kupek and the entire foundation staff for helping piece everything together. So I personally, I'm a little biased, but I think it went very well. And Scott, I know you were there, but I'll just talk a little bit about a couple of highlights and Scott jump in. But we kicked off last week on Sunday, October 3rd, at Ravinia Brewery, And why Ravinia Brewery? We're looking at cementing a deal between Ravinia and our fermentation science plant here on campus, of bringing these two forces together to hopefully make a product. So we had some folks there. Matt McCarroll was there and talked a little bit about what the plan was, and there'll be more about that unrolled here shortly. But had a great crowd to kick off on a Sunday afternoon, and we were competing with the Chicago Bears and still had a great turnout, and just really had a good time. And Scott, we were both there together. I don't know if you have any thoughts about Ravinia.
Yeah, and Caleb, I don't know, is Jeff breaking up for you at all a little bit?
Not quite. It might be your connection on there, but we're still rolling okay.
Okay, it might be okay, it might be me. Well, yeah, Jeff, I don't know if people understand just how big that Ravinia connection is for SIU. I mean, SIU is one of a handful of universities in the country that have a fermentation science program. And Ravinia went out to bid with an opportunity for somebody to do contract brewing for them, and basically SIU got the contract. And it's going to be just this incredible activity for people who are in the fermentation science program to be able to actually make beer and see the process and be through that. And it's revenue for SIU as well. It's hands-on experience. SIU has always been a university that excels in experiential learning, and this brings it home. So it's super exciting to have that happen here.
Well, Saluki's we'll look forward to hearing more about that in the coming weeks and months, and hopefully there's a great product at the end that we can all partake in and benefit from. So that was good. And then Caleb, we kicked off Monday with a number of signings. We began with a signing for equity and equality with the Harold Washington College, part of the City College network there. Chancellor was there promoting the Saluki Step Ahead program, which those of you who are not familiar with that is, it allows qualified students from the community college area to participate and get their 4-year degree online at a discounted rate. Really, really proud about that partnership. We also signed the same partnership with City College of Chicago, Oakton Community College. All that took place over the 2 days that we were there. We brought together, and Scott was a part of this dinner, we brought together some key leaders from the Chicago area to talk about recruitment, future Salukis, and how we could better improve the work that we're doing. What are some of the conflicts that we have with getting students down to Carbondale, and brought together about 15 local leaders there to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that we can do and really bring that to the forefront. And thought that was very, very beneficial and enlightening to some of the things that we could do. The dean of our College of Agriculture was hosted an event out at the Ogden Farm, and I know there was a great turnout for that. Chancellor had an opportunity to meet with a number of Chicago public school leaders and talk a little bit more about recruitment. We've got this great alum. You Chicago folks are all familiar with the Waddle and Sylvie show.
Yeah, Mark Silverman.
Yeah. And we went down and we did selfies with Sylvie, and Mark was kind enough to come out. We were trying to disrupt him on the screen, and he wasn't rattled, but he came out and just did a great, is a great ambassador for the university. And Scott, I know you have a relationship with him, and he's just been a wonderful ambassador for SIU in the Chicago area.
Yeah, we have so many alums in the Chicago area that studied radio and television and ended up getting jobs in major markets like Chicago. There's another alum, Richard Milne, who's on WXRT, but really, and we have a variety of people who've been at WGN and all the other major media outlets in Chicago. So it was really cool to work with Sylvie too. He's always been such a great supporter, and to have us come out there and harass him in front of his studios and then come out and do photos with the dogs and with alums was really fun. So that was great.
And then just to kind of wrap up, Mark agreed to kind of be the MC for our Chancellor's reception Tuesday evening in Chicago. And like I said, just great storyteller, great ambassador for SIU. And then we wrap things up on Wednesday, Caleb, with a number of public safety program meetings, which were a part of our extended campus programs. Chancellor met with the Chicago Fire Commissioner, who the first deputy commissioner is a SIU alum. So that was a great opportunity for us. And then we closed out the evening meeting with the Dunbar Leadership Society. And this is a group of African Americans promoting a scholarship opportunity, raising money for scholarships, I should say, for African American students. So a great turnout by the Dunbar Leadership Society. So again, kudos to that group, and thank you for your support of SIU. And we hope to come back if folks are listening. We'll be back September 15th of 2022. That's Thursday, September 15th, and Friday, September 16th. We'll have 2 days worth of activities. And then we hope to culminate everything with a pregame event and then go watch our Salukis beat up on Northwestern for the football game. So looking forward to next year, but we're going to look at other cities, as you mentioned, Caleb, and really take the university on the road.
All right. Well, we covered a lot about what's going to be happening at homecoming here in the next couple of days. The one thing I think we have left to mention is we are finally getting to do a dedication ceremony for Saluki Alumni Plaza at 4 p.m. on Friday at the Plaza site. Again, that'll be a small ceremony with some campus officials and people involved, but of course, as always, everyone is welcome to drop by that. I think the coolest thing about that plaza is, we had to kind of finish it off in the middle of the pandemic last summer. We couldn't really say anything about it, obviously, because of well, we couldn't really give it a proper introduction last year with Homecoming because of the same reason. But what's really cool to see is just how little introduction it needed for people to kind of do what we intended to do with it. Because if you were to be here last spring for graduation, that thing was nonstop with families, with students in their cap and gown. I mean, they wanted their picture next to that place. So I think it's already kind of cemented itself into kind of the landmark status of SIU, and it's kind of in the iconography of what it means to be part of the SIU community now. So, we're going to be finally doing a dedication for that, kind of representing the finish of the product. Jeff, is there anything you want to add on?
No, but just to add on to your point, I mean, it certainly is becoming a destination point. We work out in front of it and come to work every day, and every day we see students, and I'm assuming alums or just supporters of the institution out there every day getting their picture taken with it, which is, I think, what was one part of the vision by putting it there. And then we already talked, Scott and I already talked about the location of the Guida Moeller Family Alumni Center. I think we're just primed and ready to take off. And the plaza is just another added feature to what I think is just one of the prettiest places on campus.
And as we are taking off, we do want to kind of close out this conversation with a little bit about how alumni can get involved with what comes next for us and for the university. And that's where Jeff's going to talk a little bit about this national call for board members that we will be seeing going out next month. This is really the first time that we've been able to kind of cast this wide net out for new board members that we're looking for, because as we've had a great board that served us for many years, a lot of our members are veterans on that board. But as we kind of look to the future as well, we know that eventually we're going to need some new talent and new ideas on that board as well. And this year kind of starts that process for searching that out. And this is something that if you feel you can make the commitment and the time, we're going to bring up the opportunity for you. So, Jeff, you want to describe that?
Yeah, quickly, for any organization to continue to grow, I mean, you want new ideas, and this is just a part of that process. Um, Again, I commend as you already have, Caleb, the board that we have in place. They've done a tremendous job. But we also need to think about where we are in the world, where we are with the campus, our student body, our representation of the alumni body as well, and continue to grow and think outside of the box and welcome new ideas. And that's a part of this national call. So on November 1st, we will be sending out a national call for board members nomination. It can be self-nomination. It can be just nomination in general. We're looking to expand our footprint outside of the state of Illinois. We're looking for people all over the country from diverse backgrounds, geography, occupation, you name it. That's the only way we're going to continue to grow. And so November 1st, you will have about a 2-week time span to nominate, self-nominate, and then that will begin the process, and then we'll move it through and up until February, March, make our announcement as far as the selection process, and then those folks will kick off their term July 1st. So Scott, as a board member, an active board member, I don't know if there's any plea or anything you'd like to add on to that.
Yeah, there's so many reasons to get back here. I mean, there's so many exciting things. I remember when I first started coming back to campus, it had been really probably 20 plus years, like probably a lot of other people's stories. And I think my first few times on campus was sort of like, oh, we're reminiscing. I remember that over there and that over there. But actually, after engaging with the university for a while, like you just see so many exciting things that are happening now on campus for students. And being part of the association is a way to make that connection back with what's currently happening at SIU. And I can tell you from my own personal experiences, I get a lot more out of it than I put into it. And I try to put as much as I can into it. I can tell you that means a lot. SIU has a long history of diversity and inclusion. I would encourage anybody from anywhere around the country. And we've got 250,000 living alums. We know there's a lot of you out there. Step up, step forward, figure out how to give back. And I think it's really exciting to get some new blood on the board. Prior to Jeff, your arrival, Michelle Swartz did a wonderful job as executive director, finding people of different periods of time, different generations here, as well as from different backgrounds. But that's a really tough gig to go out and try to do that from here. We really need this national call to entries is great. This hopefully will inspire some people to come forward and volunteer.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. This is where we're going to put out the call next month. So be ready for that email to arrive, or it'll be out in other places as well. We'll have the information on our website, on our social media for people to click on the nomination form to nominate themselves or whoever they think might be a good candidate for the job. So with that, thank you, Scott, for joining us today. And again, thank you for your gift that we're going to be honoring this weekend. Jeff, thanks for joining me. I think we've covered just about everything we can for homecoming and beyond at this point. But, as always, get in touch with us if you have any ideas or any questions or anything that you think might help SIU. We hope to see as many of you back at homecoming as possible. And Jeff, close us out.
Hey, Caleb, I just want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but on Saturday, a big thank you to the 80s and 90s group. They're hosting a pregame tailgate in Saluki Row. I can't thank that group enough. for helping out and hosting that. Money goes towards supporting their scholarship, and that means a lot to the institution. So again, if you haven't signed up, I don't know if there's still a way. Maybe you can pay at the door, but hopefully it appears that Saturday is going to be a beautiful day. But I do want to thank the 80s and 90s group for doing this. That really does mean a lot. So
Well,
a lot of
the
things.
other great thing about the 80s and 90s group is not only are they charitable, but they're a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
get out there.
Of course, their scholarship is the beer scholarship. What else?
But yeah, there's already a few hundred people signed up for that, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble locating their tailgate on Saluki
No.
Row on Saturday. So do make sure you join that as well if that's something you're wanting to do.
And
So
Caleb, we are honoring the 1970 and 71 reunion class this year. We missed last year, so
right.
we'll be welcoming those folks back to a breakfast Saturday morning. So I just want to congratulate those two classes as well.
All right. Well, everyone, we hope to see you back here for homecoming. Thanks for joining us here today, and as always, have a good afternoon and go dogs.
Go Dogs!
Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you.
Thanks.